Hi everyone. Thank you for coming down to the pictures. We've got Brenda Jones here from Jene who's kindly taken some time to come and have a chat with us about Women's Health Week and kick off the week in Clemenger. So I'd like you to give her a big round of applause and just thank you for coming and having a chat.
Hi everybody, thanks for having me on day one of Women's Health Week. So I'm the campaign manager for Women's Health Week. I work for the Jene Hales Foundation, which has been going for about 27 years now, and Women's Health Week has been going for 7. So I'm here to give you a bit of an overview of what we do as an organisation, what Women's Health Week is about. Sorry if I keep coming in and out. And also what's happening this week. So today is day one of Women's Health Week. So as I said, Women's Health Week started back in 2013, and it's now a really highly visible annual campaign focusing on the health and wellbeing of all women around Australia. And the objective mainly is to improve the level of knowledge and awareness for all women to maintain good health throughout every life stage. So when we started in 2013, we had just 8,000 people involved in the week. This year, as of this morning, we have over 2,800 events happening around Australia with more than 111,000 women attending those events. And they're in every state and territory, remote communities, city, everywhere. We also have 45,000 online subscribers who will receive the content every single day of the week. And the beautiful gift bags that you've got here, we've distributed 76,000 of those. So those bags are given free to all of our event hosts to then distribute to people who come to their events. So it's our gift to the women of Australia of health information for them to share and use and to learn from. So it is it's a gift from us. But I think what I wanted to start my presentation with is a special thanks to everybody here, and particularly the team who worked on the rebranding of Women's Health Week for us this year, Olivia and thank you, and Rosie and Gail and Damien, who were all involved in that for us. And it was amazing when we approached you with a cry for help, if you like, wasn't it? It was like, we need to do something, we need to rebrand. The campaign was growing rapidly every year, but our engagement wasn't. So we really needed to have a new look and a feel to our brand that engaged more women and a diverse group of women. So that was our need, and Olivia understood that beautifully, and I think it was fair to say really got what we were after. And this slide here is, I think, testament to how we're using the brand, and it's just been amazing. So we really did speak to women in different communities, and we knew that they loved what we did, but they were looking for stronger representation of what it meant to be a woman in Australia today, which has changed a lot in the last 7 years. The cultural environment for women has changed, and women's experiences are attracting greater media attention these days. And as a result, they're more engaged and energised in a lot of issues, but particularly around their health. Part of the rebranding is the Heartline, which we just loved. And this really represents a woman's journey from childhood right through to adulthood and the many roles that she plays during her life. The other key element of the branding was the tagline, Women's Health, Powerful Stuff. Now, we took that back to our CEO and the board and kind of going, what do you think of this? And they went, stuff. I don't know about stuff. But it has resonated with everybody, and particularly women, Indigenous women. The word powerful is really strong with them, and stuff just kind of goes, yeah, we get that, it is, it's just stuff, and it's really important stuff, and it's just been incredible how that's actually working for us this year. We are also rolling the campaign out this week through a social media campaign where we are encouraging women to use, we've got the filter of the Heartline, put it over yourself and share with everybody how you can unlock your own powers when it comes to good health. Because good health is different for everybody. Every woman is different, everybody's circumstance is different. So it is a very unique and individual experience. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit as to who we are as an organisation. So Jene Hales was a leading doctor, and she was a real pioneer in women's health. And back in 1971, she opened the first menopause clinic in Australia. And in 1992, not long after she died quite young, unfortunately, they established the foundation in her honour to continue the work in women's health, recognising that it needed a stronger focus. Menopause wasn't something that you just had to put up with. It was a real issue that needed to be addressed. So we've now become Australia's most trusted leading women's health organisation. And Jene Hales, when she was alive, had a saying that if a woman is in good health, then her family and her community and the society around her also benefit. And that is still true to this day. So we are now the national not-for-profit organisation for the federal government. We're the digital gateway for women's health right around Australia, and we incorporate policy, public health and education, research and clinical services. We run 2 women's clinics, one in Clayton and one in East Melbourne, and the plan is to expand those clinics nationally. We work with a number of different organisations, disease-specific organisations as well, consumer health advocacy groups, medical researchers, governments, hospitals, community health organisations, and of course the media as well. So, Women's Health Week. So the campaign concept originally was that a recognition that women were leading busier lives than ever before, and that the week needed to be an important reminder for all women to look after themselves. We wanted women to think about and do something positive for their health. The objective was to empower all women to start making positive steps that can last a lifetime. So how did it come about? Well, there was no other campaign like this in Australia that engaged women of all ages on a range of health topics that wasn't health specific or health topic specific. And it was, at the heart of it was prevention. And so what Women's Health Week did was to provide a promotional platform to engage women and communities through education resources. So we talk about it as being a 50-50 campaign. It's 50% education, 50% promotion and PR. So Women's Health Week is for all women, as I said, all women across, which sounds really easy, it's actually not. It's 50% of the population, and that 50% of the population is made up of a lot of different types of women. So our challenge, and always has been and will continue to be, is how we continually engage and talk to multicultural women, women with disability, women who live in a lower socioeconomic environment, pregnant women, women and girls affected by the justice system, women living in rural and remote areas, and also veterans, returning veterans from in the armed forces. So these are all groups of women that the government have identified as priority populations for us and other organisations to focus on. So when we say it's just a health campaign for women, it's actually not quite that simple. One of the groups that we are doing a lot of work with, though, is our Indigenous women, and I'm really proud that we have done so much more work in that area this year. We had 21 events last year for Indigenous women. We now have 101, and these events are happening in every state and territory except the ACT. And I do know that Clemenger have also done some work with this organisation as well, because your logo's on their website. And this is the Stars Foundation, who we now run a partnership with, and they have a mentoring program in schools for Indigenous girls with the aim to keep them in school, to finish school, and then providing them with that health and education support so that they can go on and really lead more fulfilled lives. They can go into university, and they're equipped with the tools to look after themselves. It's an amazing organisation. I met them earlier this year back in Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory, where they run a program in the school. In your bag you will see there's a bookmark, and it's a project that we did with the girls in that school, where they designed some artwork for us representing what women in their community meant to them, and a beautiful story, which it just, when we read it, it just was so beautiful, because it's sorry, what's it called? I forgot. Here we go, I can show you. So the story was A Strong Heart, and it talks about the power of women. And they didn't know that our tagline was powerful stuff, and this was just, we looked at it and went, you know, we were right. Powerful stuff was the right thing. And attached to the bookmark is some basil seed sticks, so you can actually plant the seeds of good health while you're at it. So a lot of our Indigenous events are now, as I said, happening all around Australia. This one is happening up in the Kimberley, so the girls up there do a series of Deadly Diva Days, and which is just brilliant. And they're in Broome and Halls Gap and Kununurra and Luma and places that we've never been to. But they're incredible, so we now are also working with them. And we're also working as far north as the Tiwi Islands. And this is the second year that we've had communities on those islands engaged with Women's Health Week, and they use it to promote health checks. A lot of these women don't have access to not even the health support. They don't get the information. They're not online. They're not getting any of the information that we guys, we get all the time. So it's just really important. You can see we've also used the tagline on the Indigenous poster that we do there as well. It's not easy for us to do this work, so we're always looking at partners. The Royal Flying Doctor Service is a fantastic supporter of ours, and they really help us to get the bags and get the messages out to those locations that we often can't get to. Mazda Australia is another one that is supporting us, and they provide us with a car when we need to hit the road, which I'll be doing next week when I hit the road from Alice Springs to Tennant Creek in a Mazda. So we love Mazda, but it's important. We can't do this work on our own. Being Victorian based, it's very difficult to get everywhere we need to be. So why a National Women's Health Week? As I mentioned before, it provides a focus and a platform, and I think sometimes that's just what we need. We all know we should look after ourselves, and we should see the doctor, and we should exercise, and we should eat well, and it's just really easy just to let that slide. So I think the success of the week is because it provides that platform. And it's not always just a week. We have a lot of our events that happen outside of Women's Health Week, particularly in those remote communities. But it is making an impact, and it is making a difference out there in communities and for women. After last year's event, we had an evaluation done of the whole campaign, and 92% of women said they were making positive changes to their health based on the information that we sent them. And that means that we are really having an impact on their lives. And whether that's sustainable is always a bit of an open question. We never know, but the fact that it makes people stop and think and do something is half the battle. And then we hope that whilst everything can drop off, we hope that a lot of it is sustainable. We also have an annual National Women's Health Survey. So we go out to around 10 to 15,000 women every year who respond to that, and from them we find out what women want to know, and then we fill the gaps with the information that we provide during Women's Health Week. We also know that women care about other women, and I think at the heart of it, we're nurturers and we are carers, and we want to look after ourselves and others around us. But we are also prone to feeling very guilty if we don't live up to our own very exacting standards. So it's important that we always look after each other, particularly around this time in our life, some people's lives, when we are looking after not only children but elderly parents. So I love this, it's the sandwich generation. That's what quite a few of us are in at the moment, and it can be one of the most stressful times. You can be going through menopause, you've got children, you've got elderly parents and teenagers, and it's a really difficult time. So we're finding that this is actually becoming a really focus for a lot of women out there, that they really are torn in so many different directions that it takes a toll. It takes a toll on everybody's health. Excuse me. So what can we all do? And I guess the take-home message with Women's Health Week is, what can you do? 5 things this week that you can actually make a positive change in your life. And the first one is make an appointment. Go see a health professional if you need to. You might not need to. But it's that, if you've been putting off the health check, or there's been something that's been worrying you, don't ignore it. It's not worth it, and you should go and see about it. There's health checks that we all need to have all the time, so make that phone call. And look after your emotional well-being. We talk about a daily dose of fun, and I think it really is. It's find 30 minutes a day, and it can be anything. Take your beautiful dog for a walk, play with your kids in the park rather than just watch them run around. Take the stairs, get off the bus earlier, walk, do more, read a book. It's all about your mental well-being as much as it is your physical well-being. But it's finding that 30 minutes that's just for you and not feel guilty about it. If you've got to put the headphones on to block out other noise and distractions around you, then that's a really good thing to do as well. And also invest time in your nutrition. We all eating lovely healthy lunches, which is great, and think about what you're eating and think about mindfully eating. We all eat at our desk far too much, I'm sure, and that's really not putting the best into you by eating while you work. It's take that 30 minutes and go somewhere. You've got an amazing office space here to go and find a spot in the sun and eat your lunch and just enjoy it, and that's a really important thing to do. And then look at changing one unhealthy thing in your life that you can do. And again, it might be just as simple as, you know, go to the gym one more day, give up cheese, who would talk about cheese? Give up something or cut it back, you know, whether it's smoking or drinking or anything. It's just if you can identify one thing that you can actually improve on, that's really important. And the big thing is just to actually sign up to Women's Health Week if you haven't already. So during the week we put out a daily email, which is the first one's gone out this morning, but it's not too late. And we have a different topic for each of those days. Today's topic is movement, and again, how to get motivated to do more exercise and to keep moving. There's great recipes every day, and we have a Facebook Live event at 1 o'clock, which you've probably missed because I'm talking. Tomorrow's topic is a topic that probably a lot of us don't want to talk about, and that's bathroom business. Your bladder, your bowel, and your gut. But you know what? They're really, really important. Bladder health, how to look after it, how to get your bowel checks over 50, recipes to again that are good for both. But they're really important topics and worth looking at. Wednesday is all about reproductive health. So periods right through to menopause, contraception, fertility, should you freeze your eggs, shouldn't you freeze your eggs, sexually transmitted diseases, all those really good things that you want to look at over lunch. But it's, again, really important. And then Thursday is breast health and heart health, so we'll focus on the chest. And we are, as women, I think, very breast aware these days. There's a lot of messages out there, but I think it's also important to remember that heart disease is the #1 killer of women in Australia, not breast cancer. So that's why we've combined those two into one day, because it is something that, I think a lot of us kind of go, have my mammogram, but you should also be having, from a certain age, and not always, checks around diabetes and your weight as well, and cholesterol around your heart health. And as women, we tend to think that heart disease or heart attacks is a very male thing. And it's very different for men. They have different heart attacks than what we do, and which is why more women tend to unfortunately pass away because of them. They don't get the help quickly enough. Men tend to do it a lot more dramatically than we do. Don't know why that would be. So again, it's about those small steps, and it's about just finding something in your life that is doable and achievable for you. We are all different, and as I was saying before, we talk about incidental exercise. You can do 30 minutes to an hour of exercise a day without even thinking about it, by just walking from your desk to somebody else's desk, for going up the stairs, for getting off the tram easier, one stop earlier. Those small things, even putting the remote control away from you and getting off the couch to change the channels or turn your TV off. It's amazing how you can actually get 30 minutes of exercise and physical activity in your day without even thinking about it. And it is the key to healthy ageing, is moving, is to keep moving. I have my mum in an aged care home at the moment, and I see it, and I see people now who don't move. And it is, even at that age, it is so important. It doesn't matter what you do, keep moving. I think I'm racing through this very quickly. Sorry about that. I love this. So before when I was talking about how we are the campaign for all women, where we have a real gap in what we do is young women. And that's girls from 12 to 18. Jene Hales as an organisation, because it started around menopause, has a reputation for being about midlife and chronic women's conditions. And that could be endometriosis, PCOS, heavy bleeding, menopause, those types of things. But there's a real gap to actually capture women and young girls from 12 to 18 while they're still in school, and start letting them have that information about how to look after themselves. And it's different topics. It's about relationships, toxic relationships, how to identify them, how to avoid them, how to get out of them. Periods, how to start identifying if there is a problem at a young age is half the battle. endometriosis, which is a real focus for the government at the moment. You know, there was 12 years was the average age to get diagnosed because it wasn't being recognised and tracked from a young age. So it's really important. So moving forward, 2020, that's going to be our goal, is to actually introduce as part of the week a Girls' Day, and that will be a focus to go out to secondary schools, to sporting clubs, dance clubs, any sort of organisation that has a focus on teenage girls, and start actually talking to them about looking after themselves from now. So that is me, but I did want to just sort of just showcase some of the work that you guys have done. Our banners, which we had at the launch of Women's Health Week on Saturday night, which is our annual comedy gala at the National Theatre. We had these up on stage with an amazing lineup of female comedians who were all there making us laugh about all sorts of things that you wouldn't normally laugh about. And these were amazing. People, they were up on the stage and they just looked fabulous, and we just love them, and we love the work that you guys have done for us. These are so clean, and so the messaging is so simple, but it's just been absolutely amazing. So we roll it out across a lot of things. You see the bags here. We've got our social media tiles, and we've got that messaging that's really working well for us this year. So I'd like to, if anybody has any questions, I'm really happy to take some. Otherwise, I'll stop talking for a minute.